The news today. How you doing today? This is Michael DeSilvis from New Hunter Church of Christ and DeSilvis Media. It's a little dark in here, isn't it? Let's see what we can do here. All right, see, we got a brightness. Okay. So I had to pay the man a little bit of money. Anyway, but in the news today for March the 18th, 2015. You believe it? Another month from now, we will be paying taxes around this time in April. It's that quick. But in the news today, we have all kinds of news. Spiritual news, really. Pole Green Church of Christ, still haven't heard anything about rides. Haven't heard anything about outside money or support. Have not heard anything about, just to give a report on this, on about teaching this class on doing the Jacob series, an 8-week study series, which we talked about. Haven't heard anything on that either. When I went to church there for the Christmas program, I was there 3 weeks in when they were practicing, and they did ask if I could join the choir director there, if I could join, Debbie Biddle, that is. And I asked her if I could join nicely as a Christian, and she just went right by me like a bunny bee, and she saw me and just kept going. And, time went by, and I asked her again the next week, and then about 5 weeks later, of course, about 3 weeks later, of course it was too late, she said, well, I'm like, well, if you weren't going by me, and when I said Debbie, and you just kept going real fast, going right by me, you saw me because you looked right at me, and if you would have stopped and said something, then it wouldn't have been late. I think you did that on purpose, and I know she did. And then, just like this time around March, I've asked her if I could be in the choir, and I didn't hear anything. She just looked at me and just, walked away, So, I don't think they want me there, and then EL told me they weren't going to help me financially. So I don't know if EL's behind this. I don't think so. I think the members of the church there don't want to help me anymore, and that's not scriptural. As long as there's a need, according to Scripture, we should help. There should not be a limit to when we help somebody as a church. Last time I looked, in bylaws and even in Scripture, based on the Bible, Jesus helped those who were in need. Even those who need help from time to time, even if they needed it from time to time for many years, they still helped if they had the funds to do so. And see, that's what it's all about. Stewardship, what we're doing. Then I called a bunch of people there to, people that I knew, like the Bears, and I've asked them if they would promote and talk about my church with other churches and share it with other people and, and pray about it and maybe donate some money towards it if they felt moved to. They didn't have to, but they could do all these other things, and they said they would. Have not seen anything from that. So the thing is, I never left the church. Okay, I never left it. I just left to start a new church. That's New Hunter Church of Christ that you know about in Mechanicsville. The reason why things are happening there, some things is good things happening, but there's also still the same things happening. Because they aren't realizing that you don't just stop helping somebody. You always help people who are in need, is what the Bible teaches. And you don't treat people like outcasts because of some things they may have done that upset you that you need to forgive them for and let go. That's why God says, when you ask for forgiveness to me, I forget them, I blot them out. Well, people should do that too, but people don't always do that because they're like Satan. They always want to keep a record. They always want to, revert back to things. And I didn't really do anything really all that wrong. It's just that maybe I've rubbed some people the wrong way, things like that. Because we all do that sometimes. Like maybe when Megan got married to this controlling, vindictive guy who she did marry, who has a problem with pornography. And he watches, and has a problem with looking at naked stuff. And he's very controlling because she hardly ever comes to church. And I'm just going to tell the truth. I'm going to lay it all out there because that's the way he is. He's a vindictor. He's a controlling, conniving person. And, she married him because they were messing around sexually before they got married when they should not have been doing that. And, I could tell because, the way he has so much control because, she stopped coming to church. That's the proof right there. And then I heard him saying, well, you're not going to be able to see your family. I don't want you talking to your mother because she's always telling you to things because he gets upset about that because her mother was trying to help her, Debbie Biddle was trying to help her. To say, hey, I don't like this dude. I don't like some of the things he's doing. And, of course, Megan ignored it And then she just went along with him because she sort of has that kind of spirit. She's sort of rebellious, sort of, and she's young. And now she thought she knows everything because she was in her 20s. But evidently, we don't know everything. As you learn, sometimes you have to learn a hard lesson. And then Megan is learning it. And, and she don't really come around the church all that much. She don't really come to see her mother all that much. And I warned them about this before this happened. Because I could see it, plain as day. I wasn't being jealous. Megan said I was being jealous. I said, no, I'm just being protective of you because I care about you. And I do. And, of course, that's who she married. Just like Christine said, she has the right to marry whoever she wants, and yes, she does. But it's a horrible thing that happened because of it. So, you have that going on there. And, and she's probably, Mrs. Biddle's probably mad at me about that. So that's why she treated me that way, I think. And then, really it's not my fault. I was just trying to help out. And I was talking to her nice about it. And then what she did when I went over there one day, I went over there to go over there to help out. And I walked in and all the kids were talking to me and they were real excited with me being over there. And Gabby started teaching and I said, all right, we need to be quiet so we can listen to what she's got to say. And I guess she didn't hear me say that. And she got really mad and stomped out of there and slammed the door. And she said before she did all that, she just said, well, I don't want you, I can't even teach the class because all these kids are talking and they're talking over me and it's just disrespectful. I'm not going to teach. How about Mike, you teach? And then she just stormed out there, stomping her feet like a teenager, mad. And, it was just pretty weird. And even the kids thought it was strange how she was acting, And she slammed the door, and then Darlene says, "Oh, well, you should have started the example." And I'm like, I don't need to set the example here. I'm over here helping out. The kids want to talk to me because they just want to talk to me because I'm a new person in class. That's normally what kids do, and I did tell them to be quiet. But Debbie, she just got all excited and left instead of just listening and being patient. But she just flared up. It was just really bizarre. But she's probably a little mad about that. But, that wasn't my fault. That was just misunderstanding. But I was setting an example. I did tell them to be quiet. But she walked out of there real fast. And Darlene's telling me I need to be quiet. I should have set a better example. And I thought that was really crazy. Now, Darlene, she still gossips about people. She says she don't do it. She says she don't do that now. That was years ago when she did that. She's a different person now. But I don't believe that. I think her mouth is still running. Those gums are still flapping. And I think that's the reason why I can't be in the choir. And why those messages get erased on the answer machine when I leave them for EL. And why, the church has the attitude that they don't want to help me. When really they should, because I have never left there. And that's my home church, because they are. And they shouldn't be being that way. And it's like the sermon I did last Sunday in the book of Romans, that's what I see at Poe Green. A lot of people are going there. And a lot of churches of Christ, not just Poe Green, but just to say it as a spotlight. A lot of people are going there, but a lot of people's hearts are hardened. And a lot of people are not really open to the Bible when it talks about forgiveness. And it talks about helping those who are handicapped, and those who are disfortunate, and those who are from your church who need help. I mean, nobody's promoting my church. Nobody's saying nothing to any other churches. Nobody's, like they used to do in the old days. Hey, there's a new church of Christ. We want to get the word out. I'm doing all I can do as possible. I talk about it all the time. But nobody is doing that. And it's just really disturbing to me how people can be that way. Just because of some things you did in the past, because you upset some people. People, they've done, the way they were acting to me when I went over there to help out was very unprofessional. It would, and it upset me, and it was embarrassing because Debbie should have handled herself better. I still say that to this very day. It wasn't all me. I just was the trigger because of other things that happened in her day. Because Mike said she had a bad day that day, and that may be why she acted that way. And he just kind of said that, and he said I could help out after she left. But the thing is, still, there's no excuse for it. I have bad days too, but I don't act that way in class. You don't do that. And I forgive her, but still, it's crazy. Slamming the door, stomping your feet real heavy as you're walking out. I'm not going to do this yelling, saying all kinds of things real loud. I mean, it was really crazy. And Chad tells me, oh, well, you don't need to go over there. If you go over there again, then you're going to be in trouble. I said, well, why am I going to be in trouble? I didn't go over there to cause any trouble. I went over there to help out. I have a right to go over there. I'm an adult. I wanted to help out. I want to help out with the kids. I want to help out with the young people. I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I was just going over there to help. I mean, Darlene was over there. I mean, she's much older than me. I said, what's the problem? And he said, well, you don't need to be over there. I said, why is that? I said, I worked with the kids before. What's the problem? He never gave me no answers. He just said, don't go over there anymore. So, that's not right either. And, it's just crazy stuff. Because of all these allegations, things, the rumors spreading around, everything from what happened from camp is what this is about. Because of what Mrs. Crickard said. I didn't do nothing to her daughter that was inappropriate. Even, in fact, I've asked Debbie since then. And she said, no, my mother was all behind that facade. She said those words. She said that she was behind it. She's the one that did all this. She's the one that went to 3 preachers and confided with them this story, which wasn't true. And see, that's ruined my life. I can't even teach there because of what she said. You see, it's just a bunch of stuff. It's craziness. It's absurd. But, people will go to that lengths. And she's not all that perfect or all that mentally sane either. She's been in and out of mental hospitals, when she was younger, and because of anger and things, we're talking about Evie McCrickard, Evie, and not Evie McCrickard, but I mean Sandy McCrickard, sorry, Evie, her mother. And she's been, she's had problems, and she's got anger problems, and she's not all as Christian as you think she is. She don't have it all together. And so, but she's, for her to say these false accusations about me, that's slanderous on top of that. And it's just, when you take somebody's character and you do that, slander somebody and say they did some things to your daughter that was inappropriate when nothing was ever done, alleged or unalleged, it's just really crazy and wrong, to say the least. But anyway, I forgive her for it, of course, but just to give a background, I think that's what this is all about. Because all this stuff goes together. I work with kids all the time. Even today. Maybe not at Pole Green. But I work with them. I don't have a problem with children. I see them all the time. And it's just, I like working with them. I think it's a wonderful ministry. But it's awful that people had to listen to this madness from that woman and make an accusation to think that she's all holier than thou, and really she's not. I think she's a hypocrite because she makes up things and fabricates and embellishes things, is what I think. And I'm talking about Sandy. And I don't think she's really a nice woman because she's controlling and very bossy. And she don't like people, she'll try to ruin you. And that's what she's tried to do with me. And I don't think she's a really good woman. I don't think, if I had a choice and I had to marry someone like that, I wouldn't have married them. Because I wouldn't want somebody to be like that with me in my life. But some people like that control. They like that bossiness. Some people get turned on by that. They love it. Where the woman takes control and does decision making. When that's a man's job or role. I mean, I think it's really both sided. They should work together, really. But it's not just a woman doing it, but they should come to decisions together. So, anyway, that's my thought about it. But, if we're going to grow and we're going to be Christians, we got to get over this he say, she said nonsense. And get into reality. And get to helping people and changing people's lives. That's really what it's about here. It's not about what I did or what I allegedly did or when I didn't do anything at all. And I can confide to 3 preachers and tell a lie. And that's what Sandy did. And that's really what this all amounts up to be. And that's what she did. She lied. Even Evie admitted that to me when I saw her in Walmart. I said, your mom did this. She said, yes. I told her not to do it because it wasn't true. I told her to leave it alone. Don't do this to Michael. But she did it because she didn't want me to be with you. That's exactly what she told me too. That's what Evie said. And I told her not to do it. Because I love you, and you didn't do nothing to me wrong or inappropriate. And she just blew it all out of proportion. Because she didn't want me to have anything to do with her. Or have anything to do with her. And she wanted me to didn't want me to have nothing to do with her. And that's exactly what Evie said. So, there you go. People, you got to understand, people can lie, and they do. A lot of times. Even people of the faith, they just as bad. They can sell out people and ruin people's lives over falsehoods and wrong speech. I forgive her, yes I do. I pray that she gets the help that she needs mentally. And I hope she gets the help that she needs in her marriage. I hope that she can get her bossiness under control and learn to start telling the truth about things and not making up things and embellishing things. I pray about that. And I pray that the Lord will dawn upon her heart to change her heart and undo what she's done in my life. And those people who are like this at Pole Green need to do the same. That they get the help that they need and that they open their hearts and forgive and stop going by what you hear and go by the truth and not go by any winds of teaching or woes of what's being taught, because all this stuff is just not true and it's all a bunch of lies and it's from hell. She talked to 3 preachers about it. Got them all together in the conference. And, she said it confessed to them. And Glenn Foster, she said, the kind of person that you are, I don't believe you did anything to her daughter that was inappropriate. That's what he said off the record. He says, I don't believe anything she's saying because there's no way that would be true, because you are a really nice, true man of God. But because the way politics are here, I have to do what they say, and she happens to be on the committee, and if I don't do what she says, then I won't be no longer a manager here. And you got to understand, I need a job to help provide for my family. I said, yeah, I do understand it, but I think it's terribly wrong. He says, I do too, but I don't know what to, I can't do nothing about it because I'll lose my job. I said, I understand. I don't want you losing your job. And that's what he said to me on the phone. So, I don't, but anyway, that's all under the bridge. But that's just to tell you some of the things that I've gone through. And, for Pole Green not to help me, for EL to tell me we're not going to help you. He told me that a couple months ago. It's hurtful. Because that's a church where I've grown up in. And it's a church that I went to for over 20-some years before I left there to start a new church. I didn't really leave them, but I left to start a new church. But none of them are promoting it. None of them are talking about it like the old days. They don't do that. But they should. I'm a sister congregation. I'm teaching the same stuff that is being taught at Pole Green. I don't know what the problem is. Why people have to be this way is really absurd. But, when you're helping someone and you're trying to do good and you have education in Bible and you have the credentials to do this like I have, why can't they see the light to help me? These are people of faith who I went to church with. Why did I have to listen to all these rumors and things that don't have nothing to do with doing the honor and glory of Christ and doing His work when it's not even true? That's the part that doesn't make sense to me at all. Okay. But anyway, that's how I feel about it. Give and donate to our podcast. Tell us what you think. And please be in prayer for our church, that it continues to grow. And that Sandy and all these other people that have errors in their mental thinking and in their hearts will get themselves straight before the Lord and ask for forgiveness and start acting that way. Because yet, these people say they forgive people of sins, but yet the way they act, it doesn't show it. And that's the whole thing. When you forgive somebody, you treat them and you show that. We're supposed to hate the sin, but love the sinner. And yet I haven't done really anything wrong here as far as that goes. I might have said the truth, and the truth does always hurt to Evie. Not Evie. Yeah, about Evie. But also the truth always hurts when you talk about, Debbie Biddle and Megan. and Mike. When I say the truth about what's going on with that marriage, it's not good. And I don't ever see her hardly. I don't see her at church at all hardly. I see her every once in a while. But she don't come up to me and say hi when she's there, when she's by herself. I don't know if she's still married to this dude. I don't know. Maybe she feels ashamed because she realizes that maybe that I was right, and that she was so mean and bad to me that she doesn't think I want to talk to her. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But I hope all this stuff can repair itself over time. And I hope that she can see the truth that I was only looking out for her best interest because I do care about her and I do love her. Always have. But, Evie's a hard person. I mean, I said Evie. I meant Megan. Megan is a hard person to reach because she's sort of stubborn. And stubborn people are sometimes hard to get through. Hardheads. Blockheads, I call them sometimes. You try to tell them the truth, they don't see it. Because they're in love. Their vision is clouded. Because they don't see it. And even though they were being abused, they don't see it. A lot of women don't. And in domestic violence, or verbal abuse, or domestic, or both, a lot of women don't see it when they're going through it. Because they think that's what they're supposed to endure because they love the person. When really that ends up either killing them or seriously injuring their spirit and their ego to the point to where they feel worthless, to where they may commit suicide, some cases. Or it's where they never get to do anything because they're in subjective fear because of abuse. And there's a lot of people that are married to men and even some women that are like this too. And it's wrong because that's not what marriage is instituted and that's not what it's supposed to be about. According to the Bible. I ask you people and pray that you read the Bible again. Because when someone says you can't see certain people because they're that controlling and vindictive and they take you away from your family, it's horrible. I mean, it's hurtful. They can't come around because they don't want you to be around the family because they're afraid of what they'll say. Because they don't want you saying nothing to They don't want you saying nothing to them, and they don't want them to say nothing to you because they don't want them to try to put ideas in your head because they're that controlling. That's a red flag, people. If you're in that situation, that is when someone's like that. That is horrible. I would never be like that to my wife. The wife who I get one day, whoever it is, I would never be that way to her. Because that is just hellish way to be to anybody. But there are men that are like this, folks. And women, too. But anyway, just pray for those people and pray for people like that in general in your area that you may know. And don't let these rumors bother you. They don't bother me, but it's just the truth of what's happened to me. And that's why you haven't seen me doing much around with churches because of this reason. Because people have tried to destroy me that way, and I think these people need to repent. And I think these people need to really re-examine their life because they are critical in their condition when it comes to Christ because of the way they act and the way they treat each other. That's what this message in Romans is about, what I talked about last Sunday. I love you. See you later. God bless. And I will have another thing updated to you tomorrow. We'll be talking to your kids. Lesson 14, chapter 13. All right. See you later. Bye.